Are you finding yourself having the desire to eat in secret, hide food, or even hoard food? How about a child? Are you finding that maybe your child is eating in secret or even stealing food? My name is Shena, and I'm a registered dietitian specializing in the care of persons with eating disorders. And today we're really going to dig into what goes into the desire for a person to eat in secret or stash away food. Now, the first thing that we need to know about this is all secret eating or hiding or stashing food actually comes from food scarcity. And I don't necessarily mean limited access to food, although this certainly can be a contributor, especially when it comes to things like feeling the urgency to keep a well stocked, overstocked pantry or certain foods on hand at all times. When I discuss food scarcity, I actually mean either mental scarcity or physically removing or limiting access to certain foods in the house. Now, if you are somebody that struggles with secret eating, this may have come from experiences as early as young childhood. So it might have included things like your parents not allowing access to food when it wasn't mealtime. Or perhaps that you were limited on the quantity of certain foods you could have, such as cookies. Now, this often creates a mental sense of food scarcity, and this increases the desire for these food choices. If you have a child that is sneaking food or even stealing food, it is likely because there is an element of food scarcity somewhere. And honestly, this might not even be intentional. We might even see this in just large families where we're having to feed a lot of people, and maybe the foods that are the favorite in the household disappear quickly, and people maybe don't feel like they receive enough of that food at any given time. Now, if that happens very frequently, the person might develop some type of food scarcity around that. However, that's probably not the biggest contributor. The biggest contributor to creating food scarcity is actually food rules. And this might be food rules that have been imposed by parents, society, or ourselves. Now, food rules might look like we shouldn't eat too much sugar, or we shouldn't eat too many carbs. A food rule could also look like we should never go back for seconds. A food rule also might look like it's not appropriate to eat after 7 p.m. Food rules also might look like you should eat your vegetables before you get any dessert. Now, while these food rules might sound pretty innocent and even health promoting, they create that sense of scarcity in our mind that actually amplifies our desire for these food choices. Some of these food rules also might create a great sense of guilt, shame, and anxiety when we do have the foods or even when we think about those foods. And that also leads to that food scarcity. So if we think that we're going to be judged for having a certain food choice, likely we are going to consume those foods in secret or even stash those foods away because we may be afraid that somebody else is going to judge us for even having the food in the home. So if we receive messages in the school, in the workplace, with family, that maybe the quantity of food that we have, or maybe the of food that we have are inappropriate, then we are likely to internalize these messages and avoid sharing our experiences of food with others. So, food shaming might look something like, you're really going to eat all of that? Haven't you already had one cookie? And so on and so forth. And as we internalize these messages, we often begin to avoid social situations that might involve us eating. In other words, we really need to practice more intuitive eating and really getting in tune with our body and its needs and desires. Now, this might also involve really examining our own weight bias and the way that we feel about our body. If we have a deep fear of gaining weight or believe that others will perceive us negatively if we're gaining weight, then we may also have the desire to eat in secret or hide food. So, in addition to challenging the food rules that we have in place already, we also need to challenge some of the beliefs about bodies that might not be beneficial to us. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share.